And on the couch with us, we have Dan Meyer, and he has brought a special guest with him today. So thank you guys so much for being here with us. And you're going to talk to us a little bit about corporate social responsibility.
Right. Those almost are oxymorons, it seems like, in our day and time. Several years ago, huge legislation put together to promote transparency, to promote accountability, and yet we have never seen greater lack of transparency in corporate and government, and the unwillingness to assume responsibility sometimes for actions. And yet it's a very important thing, and we think of it often on the national level, but even in town, corporate social responsibility. Meaning that as businesses, we really owe something and are indebted to the communities that we're in, and we need to give back, and we need to lead in things like integrity and whatnot. Dwight was a member of our Watauga Leadership Challenge class a few years ago, and then he went to this workshop. In fact, you spent 2 or 3 days at a major workshop.
I did.
And came back kind of fired up about corporate social responsibility. And in fact, he's even shared with our leadership class the last couple of years about that very, very concept. So tell us a little bit, Dwight, about corporate social responsibility.
Okay. Let me begin by saying many business practices go all the way back to the Industrial Revolution. Typically, a business just hires an employee, they give them a job description, just say, do this, do your job, do it well. If you do pretty well, we'll give you a raise. If you do better than that, we'll give you a promotion. But as we found, there's some emptiness in that. The employees want more, and employers haven't typically engaged the employee to get their opinions about how the business ought to be run or how it could be improved. And so there's been a gap there. And then I'd like to introduce a concept called credibility gap, in which the public now hears so much, I'm going to call it noise, but so much advertising and promotion, and they don't know if it's factual or not. Companies claim that, hey, my product's better than everybody else's product, and we don't know if that's true or not, so there's a lot of distrust by the public in companies and their products. Mm-hmm. So interestingly, a year or so ago, I asked for a meeting with John Cooper at Mass Store, and he and Faye started their business about the same time we started ours, and of course that company has grown substantially. So I went to John, I said, okay, what's the secret at Mass Store? And he said, well, first of all, it's your people, hiring good people and taking care of them, pay them well. And then his second response was, meet me at Boone Sunrise Rotary. And so obviously he has saw the benefit of being involved in the community. We saw in our organization a lack of doing that. We were very good about taking care of our people, about being environmental stewards, but we weren't involved in the community. And then, as you said, I was in the 2011 Leadership Challenge and saw all that was going on in the Boone community, so much good work, and decided, you know, maybe we let up a little bit on the writing checks and go out and get personally involved.
Sure. Well, somebody once said, well, actually it was in our board meeting, it was John Cox who came up from the Cabarrus County. He said, good community yields good business, and good business makes good community. And there really is that interaction between the two that's so very important. It's not just a matter of being a good business person. It also has to do with being involved in community activities, sharing in leadership roles, taking on those kind of responsibilities. And really they can also impact the bottom line if you really get right down to it.
It can. We, as I mentioned, weren't involved in community activities and began that shortly after a leadership challenge. And our company is in Fosco. Many folks didn't even know where we were at. But as we became more involved in communities and on boards and committees, folks recognize us and know who we are, and thereby trust us and willing to pursue us for products. So that's one angle, but the fun and excitement of being a participant actually in the work is also a great benefit.
Tell me some of the specific things that you have joined in with just in the last 18 to 24 months. Some of the things, you were just telling me you spent the weekend out at the Habitat House, or Saturday, you spent some time out there working.
I did. Our church has for years committed the third Saturday of the month to do Habitat work, and so for years I wanted to do Habitat work, and I kept saying, oh, I don't have time, I don't have time. So finally, after leadership, I just said, I'm just going to do it. And I was just really impressed by the work going on there and became highly involved in that. I'm also in high country workforce development, which is undergoing a great deal of change. Unemployment benefits have been cut back, and so it's even more imperative that our local offices be centers that can help folks not only find a job, but find a career. Actually, maybe if they've got a job, to move up to another level or pursue something else they're interested in. So that's undergoing a great deal of renovation at this time.
One of the things I've really appreciated about you, Dwight, is that you kind of had an epiphany about the importance of this, but then you've acted upon it and you've gotten involved. And that's something that we encourage in leadership. That's the challenge, isn't it?
It is.
When you graduate, is to get involved. Appreciated you all coming over and filming our graduation the other night. And we'll be having another class in January of 2014. But that's the thing, we need to step up. We need business people, employers and employees involved in our social agencies, in our civic agencies, in our government, because they all bring different perspective and round things out so that it's not just tunnel vision. There's a wider perspective as we move ahead in our community and in our business as well. So
True.
Appreciate the leadership that you've stepped up to in that regard. In fact, he's going to be working with me a little bit. We have elections coming up,
Right.
and we're going to revamp a little bit some of our list of things that the chamber would like to see in our elected officials. And one of them is going to be directly related to social responsibility. So be looking for that.
Yeah.
And let me tell everybody that this Thursday we've got another grand opening, and that's going to be at Glenbridge. They're opening up a new wing, and so that will be coming up Thursday. You can always go on our website at boonechamber.com. In fact, it's a new website, so please go on it. There is a calendar of events there where you can find out all the things that are going on. We've got a lot of our committees are meeting this week. In fact, Evergreen Committee is one that Dwight is on, looking at sustainable business practices. And but there's also the Q Committee, Community University Engagement Committee, and also we'll be having our Member Services Committee. So a lot of committee meetings, and that's the work of the chamber is done in those committees. And I would be negligent if I didn't say that over this past weekend we've had the pleasure of having our two of our grandsons here. So I need to say hi to Josh and Caleb, who are watching right now, and because they're the next generation too, and how they see us operate in business, in civic and social and religious affairs influence them, and really sets a stage for their involvement in the future. It's not just the job. It's interaction in the community and all of those kinds of things. So we appreciate the opportunity each week to come and to share a little bit about business, and we appreciate your coming to our open house and giving the community an opportunity to see what's happening in the business community.
Well, it just amazes me. You do a wonderful job over at the chamber. You have for a long time. You have so much going on. It really helps the community out. So thank you for everything that you do.
It's our pleasure. It's not just our pleasure. It's our responsibility.
Absolutely. So many grand openings lately, too. It's so
And we
exciting.
got another one next week.
Who's that?
There you go.
You've caught me up. Oh, no. Well, we've got a couple. Actually, the apple cart
Oh, yeah.
is,
Right.
their
Friday.
grand opening is coming up. Next Thursday, you caught me on the Thursday. There's another one though, because we had 3 Thursdays in a row, and I'll
There's
have
so many to keep
I'll
up
have to
with.
remember what the next one is. But next week I'll know.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you, Dwight, for coming and
very
sharing
welcome.
with us.
Of course, yes.
Thanks,
Thank you
guys.
both for being on the show today. We really appreciate it. A lot
Enjoy.
of helpful information. And we will be back in just a moment with more of the Mountain Television Network.